Are you a pretend Christian? Perhaps no one will ever know what truly goes on in your heart, underneath all the kind acts and loving gestures. But what if you were exposed? The anger and bitterness covered with a smile. Nothing stays hidden forever. The great Abraham Lincoln once said, "You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time." What does it mean to fool or pretend? Well, you're make-believing. It's not real. It's just imaginative, intellectual play. A deception, something that's untrue. A false impression. It's not really there. You know, pretending to have love in your heart when you really don't. Juggling the act of pretense. Feigning what's not there. What's not there? The Spirit of Christ. Most are under the impression that all it takes is just a confession, that you believe and then make the efforts, struggling to do the right thing. They just assume that they have the Spirit of Christ. But the evidence of His Spirit is true power. Not pretend power. They just don't recognize the signs, the proof, the warnings that He's not there, that He's just not there. There's millions of pretend Christians. Are you one of them? You can't pretend forever. Jesus said that those who truly believe in Him will show the evidence of His presence. It appears that most do not understand this. They just take it to be the case as true that they have His Spirit. They accept it without verification or proof. They take it for granted or as a given that once they say the prayer, His Spirit enters in. But this is not what Scripture teaches. They're assuming the role as a Christian without verification or proof. The New Testament Scripture challenges you to prove it. Paul stated, "Examine yourselves." He tells the professed Christians, "Examine yourselves, whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know you not your own selves, how that Jesus Christ is in you, except you be reprobates." He also stated that they, in turn, sought proof of Him. He speaks to them saying, "Since you seek a proof of Christ speaking in me, which to you word is not weak, but is mighty in you." Paul stated, "To this end do I write, that I may know the proof of you, whether you be obedient in all things." He further admonished, "Watch in all things, make full proof of thy ministry." And you know who is said to confirm it? Why, the Spirit of Christ Himself. Can you prove that the Spirit of Christ dwells within you outside of an emotional experience? Do you pass the test? The ones who followed Him, not only did they go about preaching, but they demonstrated the same power as Jesus demonstrated when walking the earth. It was His Spirit. You have individuals who's assumed the role of a Christian a year, 10, or even 20 years or more. Never stop to examine, scripturally confirm if His Spirit truly dwells within them. They suffer in bondage the bondage of sickness, disease, addictions, depression, oppression, grip of suicide, not understanding the clear and simple text of Scripture. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Not that it will come, not that I'm hoping for it. It says there is liberty where the Spirit of the Lord is. That means where His presence is, where He resides, where He indwells, there is freedom. The Scriptures clearly say to test and prove every spirit, whether it be of Christ, and that includes yours. Examine yourself. Is there confirming evidence that the Spirit of Christ dwells within you? Notice that the evidence is not based on an emotional experience of overwhelming love or peace. It is based on proof, the solid, clear evidence of supernatural power that externally impacts. It is not an internal, emotional experience. The supernatural power that Jesus demonstrated was to provide proof of his claims. It wasn't a proclamation of how much he loved them, but it was a demonstration of setting them free from bondage. What proof do you provide that you are indeed a disciple of Christ? Scripture gives clear marks, proof, identifying those who truly have his Spirit, or those just pretending. Are you a pretend Christian? No. According to the New Testament, does his Spirit reside in you? Do you pass the test? According to Scripture, prove it. You can prove it now, or you can wait, and it will be proven later for all to see on the judgment day by him. Only then it'll be too late.